Hey guys, Trey Gibson Tanner here, real estate investor and coach. And today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to locate active cash buyers. Let's get it. Let's go.
All right, guys, let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to do is pick a market as always. I'm going to go with Tarrant County. And first thing I want to do is I want to say owner occupied no. And I'm also in Propstream. I don't want to skip that step if this is the first time you're watching this. I'm working in Propstream. It is an awesome tool for evaluating real estate in an amazing database. So we want to look at property characteristics, property types, single family. We're just looking at single families, because we want to see who's purchasing single family homes. Um, we want to go to ownership info, last sale date. I only want to go back a couple of months. As of this video, it's December 2023. So I only want to go back like 2 months. And the next thing I want to do is I want to go into valuation and equity information. I want to make sure that I'm targeting cash buyers who, they want properties of value. So in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, $200,000 is really, that's lower end to median, but more so lower end. So I want them to have purchased a property that at least, is worth $200,000. And I want an estimated equity of 100%. That's how we profile a cash buyer. Cash buyers have purchased the property outright. They didn't use a loan. I'm going a step further with this too. Like I don't even want the buyer to have used hard money. I want them to have used just their hard cash to purchase the property. That way I know they're serious. They're not playing around. So, that's very important there. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to look at ownership information again. And I'm going to say number of properties owned. I'm going to max it at 50. Okay. That's important. I'm trying to think of anything else. So these are people who have purchased real estate with their cash over the past several months, and they do not live in that property, right? I could say I only want to look at corporate owners. I could do that. You know what? I'll keep it like that. But you'd be surprised how many individual owners actually own tons of properties. So I'm going to keep it open. I just kind of want to prove concept here. So, let's do this. I'm going to pick this property here. You can see Smart Move Advantage Realty LLC. That's the owner of the property. This property was built in 2019. They made an all cash deal on this property. How many properties do they own? Actually, I want to profile and take it another step further here. People who own like they're really serious, right? I capped it at 50 because I want to push it into local buyers, because I don't really want you guys for your first deal working with like the bigger funds and stuff like that. Hedge funds, they can sometimes be a drag to work with, unless you really know what you're doing. So I'm going to put a minimum amount of properties as being 2. There we go. Let's see what this one has. All right, so we can see that linked properties. There's several, but I don't want to use them. I want I keep going back and forth on this one, but I think I just want to use corporate because I really want to drive home the the point of finding like a consistent cash buyer. So let's see here. I want to open it up just a little bit. Let's say number of properties owned is 3. I really want to make sure that we're dealing with the right people here. Okay, South Creek properties. Let's look at Link properties here. All right, that's a little bit better. KVL properties here. That kind of matches the acronym here. And then we can also kind of see like South Creek properties. So maybe, just maybe, South Creek properties is the same. I think it is. It's going to be the same KVL properties. So they recently just purchased this property off the MLS for $220. It doesn't. I mean, I don't think that this is like less than market value. I think they just wanted to purchase a property. And if I look here and I comp this right up the street, number 1, that's a rental property. I want to look at number 2. I mean, yeah, 241. It was a smaller property too, but we also got a larger lot size. Yeah, they got a small discount is what I'm trying to say. Like this property that we're looking at, if we look at it from the perspective of like there's a ton of comps over here, but like number 4, 1709 Trent, we got a 3-1. This is a 3-1.5, 1511. We have a 1520 square feet. Then I mean, if that one went for 270 roughly, I mean, they got this one for I think what 220. I guess somewhat of a discount, but I mean, you could lock it in for 200 and sell it to these guys for 220, and they buy it from you, right? I mean, that's the beauty of knowing how to do this. Okay, and I like to show it to you here on Propstream so that you can understand like how to comp and understand like what they've done. And this house needs work. I mean, look at this. I mean, it really does. It's not like super nice unless we look at some pictures, but it didn't seem like it was super nice. But people reach. They really reach when it comes down to properties, and they don't know how to find them, so they rely on the market or real estate agents and things of that nature. That's why it's so important for us to get active and continue to work, because if we don't, somebody else is going to find this deal and then sell it to an active cash buyer who's hungry. And remember, guys, they don't care about interest rates because they have cash. Like, they don't care about that kind of stuff, right? So let's look at their linked properties real quick. They're used to like buying like they bought another property on Arbrook Boulevard. Like they're pretty active. They bought 2 right here, so yeah, I mean, I'll go to somebody else, but the reason why I'm showing that is because you kind of can build out a buying criteria for these buyers just by looking at what they purchased in the past. Okay, you know they're purchasing right now, which is good. So what I like to do is like I'm picking on these guys here, right? So if I want to see recently what they purchased, this guy, he's not like all of that consistent. Like he's all over the place with like maybe a year here and a year there. in between purchasing properties. I'm just picking random properties right now. Let's do this. I want to find someone who has 10 properties or more, somebody very active. Let's check these guys out. They own 20. There we go. So ownership length, yeah, they're buying them every month. Look at that. So these guys say, hey, as long as I can get somewhat of a deal, I'll purchase it. So let's see. They got it for $237. So yeah, I mean, this property is roughly worth, right down the street, got $265, but it was smaller, so we know our property is worth more. If we look at this one that went for $224, it was larger, right around the same size as ours, but that was probably an as-is purchase, like it wasn't updated. So our property is probably worth about $280. They're getting it for like, $237. That's somewhat of a discount. It's not a great discount. Their year built is relative, only a few years from each other. So those are strong comps as to what the property is actually worth. But these buy and hold investors, as long as the property is somewhat livable, we can take a look at a few pictures here. I mean, it's a cosmetic rehab. It's not a heavy rehab at all. Like, you put new carpet, paint, good to go, right? And that's why they bought it, because they don't have to do a whole lot to it. They could probably put about $10,000 to $15,000 into the property and be done. And that's kind of what you want to do when you're buying buy and hold. So I always advise students. I say, profile your properties for buy and hold investors. Just because if you profile all your properties for flippers, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get undercut. Remember, we're in business to make money. And so we're in business to sell to the highest bidder, not to the person who's saying, hey, well, I've got to do this and I got to do that. I mean, no, we want to make money, right? By still providing a service to our end buyer. We just have to be picky on who that end buyer is, right? There's always a better buyer out there. It's just you don't know who they are. So that's the key. Going back to Link Properties here. So they roughly got a 20% discount, right? So they bought this property at 80%, right? But they came in all cash. They didn't care. If I look at this and I say, okay, what they're buying, I mean, they're buying 2 1s, 3 1s. I mean, they're pretty open. They're not so stringent, right? I think as long as it cash flows for them and it's not like a huge property. I mean, this is kind of a big property, but this is probably most likely like a personal residence. Could be. If it is like less than 2,000 square feet, that's why I always put that in there. They'll purchase it. They'll keep it. This was like some vacant land, so they probably built too. That's why you see the peak development. And that's what you do, guys. I mean, let me give you guys a nugget. As you gain wealth in the real estate business, what you need to do is you need to offset all of the money that you're making by purchasing rental property. And that's what they're doing. Primarily, they probably purchase land, right? Like how you see this right here. And then they go ahead, build a spec house or something like that. And then somebody comes in and purchases it. And then, boom, they got extra money to go and dump in the rental properties that are cash flow for them. That's the way you do it. So, so these are savvy cash buyers. I mean, I advise you to reach out to guys like this because they know what they're doing. But let's go over the filter, right? Propstream filter is owner occupied, no. Property type, single family. Owner type, corporate. Last sale date, go back like 2 to 3 months. Number of properties owned, you can open it up a little bit, but 10 to 50 in a major metropolitan area, you're going to find a solid cash buyer. Estimated value, $200,000 or more. That's going to fluctuate depending on what market you're working in. But the key to this whole thing is that you want the estimated equity to be 100% or more. Pretty much saying that I don't want them to have any loans on the property. I want them to own it outright without any liens. So, guys, I hope this helps.